For centuries, a single name has echoed through the halls of history, whispered by explorers and coveted by kings: El Dorado, the lost city of gold. But was it ever a real place? Or just a fever dream born from greed and ambition? Today, we're rediving deep into the jungles of South America to uncover the truth behind one of the world's most enduring legends. The story begins not with a city, but with a man. The legend of El Dorado, which means the Gilded One in Spanish, originates from the Muisca people of modern-day Colombia. They had a fascinating and deeply sacred ritual. When a new chief was chosen, he would be covered in gold dust from head to toe. He then board a raft laden with gold and emerald offerings and sail to the center of Lake Guatavita. As his people watched from ashore, he would wash the gold from his body and cast the treasures into the lake's dark waters as a sacrifice to the gods. This ceremony was real. It was a tradition steeped in spiritual significance, a symbolic act of renewal and offering. For the Muisca, gold wasn't a currency. It was a sacred metal, a physical manifestation of the sun god's power. It was something to be given, not hoarded. But then, the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century. They heard whispers of this gilded man, and their imaginations ran wild. The story of a man covered in gold quickly morphed into a story of a city paved with gold. A place of unimaginable wealth, hidden somewhere in the impenetrable Amazon rainforest. This was the spark that ignited a fire of obsession. The legend of El Dorado transformed from a sacred Muisca ritual into a symbol of ultimate earthly reward. It became the ultimate prize for adventurers willing to risk everything. And risk everything, they did. Expeditions led by famous conquistadors like Gonzalo Pizarro and Francisco de Orellana plunged into the unknown. They faced incredible hardships: sweltering heat, torrential rains, dense jungles teeming with unfamiliar dangers, and starvation. They battled indigenous tribes who were rightfully defending their homes. These expeditions were brutal, often ending in disaster. Men died from disease, hunger, and conflict. One of the most famous and tragic quests was led by Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada in the 1530s. He started with over 800 men. After a grueling journey through swamps and jungles, fewer than 200 survived to reach the Muisca territory. While they found the Muisca people and their gold, they never found the mythical city they were looking for. Another infamous expedition was that of Lope de Aguirre in the 1560s. Aguirre was a man consumed by madness and paranoia. His quest for El Dorado descended into a spiral of betrayal and murder. He declared himself a king, rebelled against the Spanish crown, and left a trail of terror in his wake. His story is a chilling testament to how the lust for gold can corrupt the human soul. Werner Herzog's film Aguirre, The Wrath of God, brilliantly captures this descent into madness. For over 200 years, the search continued. Explorers mapped vast, unknown territories, but the Golden City remained elusive. Why? Because it never existed. The Spanish were chasing a fantasy, a misunderstanding of a local tradition that they had twisted into a tale of immense material wealth. So, what about the lake? Lake Guatavita, the site of the original ceremony, became the new focus of the gold hunters. If the city wasn't real, surely the treasure at the bottom of the lake was. And they weren't entirely wrong. Over the centuries, numerous attempts were made to drain the lake. In the 1580s, a merchant named Antonio de Sepulveda managed to cut a notch into the rim of the lake, lowering its level significantly. He found hundreds of gold artifacts, including breastplates, figurines, and crowns. This discovery only fueled the legend further. It was proof that there was immense treasure to be found. However, his efforts caused a landslide that blocked the drainage notch, and the lake refilled. Later attempts in the 19th and early 20th centuries used more advanced technology, including industrial pumps. One British company managed to drain the lake almost completely in 1911. But when they got to the bottom, they found a thick layer of mud and silt that was impossible to dig through. By the time the sun baked the mud hard enough to walk on, the lake had already started to refill from its natural springs. They found a few trinkets, but nothing close to the mountain of gold they had imagined. Eventually, in 1965, the Colombian government declared Lake Guatavita a protected national heritage site, putting an end to the treasure hunting once and for all. The lake could finally rest, guarding its remaining secrets. So, El Dorado, the city, was a myth. But the legend had a profound and lasting impact on history. The relentless search for this phantom city led to the exploration and mapping of huge portions of South America. It drove the expansion of the Spanish Empire and led to the tragic subjugation of countless indigenous peoples, whose cultures were destroyed and whose real wealth, not just gold, but knowledge and tradition, was lost. The story of El Dorado is a powerful cautionary tale. It shows how greed can twist and distort reality. It is a story about the clash of two worlds, one that saw gold as a sacred connection to the divine, and another that saw it as the ultimate measure of power and wealth. In a way, the true treasure of El Dorado was never the gold itself. The true treasure lies in the story, in the history, and in the lessons it teaches us about human nature, ambition, and the destructive power of obsession. The Muisca people understood the true value of gold as a spiritual offering, not something to be possessed. It took the rest of the world centuries of bloodshed and failure to even begin to understand that same lesson. The search for El Dorado may be over, but its legend lives on, a shimmering mirage in the annals of history, forever reminding us that the greatest treasures are often not the ones we can hold in our hands. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of a legend. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. See you in the next video.